Energy Show. What is it? This is called All the
This is
Feels, right?
all Feelz podcast.
All Feels.
All the Feelz. Just be whatever you're feeling and kind of like let it off.
Mm-hmm.
Not a therapy session, but kind of sort of.
That's cool. Yeah.
Okay, so today we have Brandon, and your stage name is
Tony Sayerz.
Where did you get that name from?
I was thinking of like Tony Montana, like
Mhm.
and the football player Gale Sayers, because I like football, and Tony Montana is just kind of like, man, he wanted to get it, you know what I'm saying? Like, and by any means, not necessarily like, hey, follow his lead.
Yeah.
However, just that hustling mindset. I think everyone can learn from Tony Montana, never to give up. I mean, honestly, because that's kind of like what it is. You know, just like Rocky Balboa. However, I think Tony Montana is pretty cool.
Okay.
So Tony Sayers. Yeah.
Did you where'd you grow up?
Longview, on the Pine Tree side.
So did you go to Pine Tree ISD?
Yes, my whole life.
Okay. What year did you graduate?
2010.
2010.
Yeah.
And did you play football?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh,
we did.
How was your football team?
Damn.
How are the Pirates back in 2010, 20?
Everyone watching this, you know. Like, you guys shouldn't even. They
What was the locker room feel before you guys went out to the field to lose? No, I'm just kidding.
It felt great. It was a lot of hope, a lot of faith. By halftime, you know, by halftime, like, man, it was like, you know, but it all in all, I think ultimately we had fun. It was just kind of like going to war, you know, with those guys, and just it was fun. I mean, win, lose, it was just a cool experience just to be a part of like a team. You know what I'm saying? Although we should have played a little bit more like a team, it was cool.
Okay. What position did you play?
Cornerback and running back, but I played more cornerback whenever I broke my ankle. So.
Wait, did you break it while you were playing?
Practice, actually. It sucked. It was like the practice before the last game.
Oh, your senior year? Was it like
my junior year, I believe.
Did you play your senior year?
Yes.
Okay. So what part of Pine Tree did you grow up in? Like, I guess your neighborhood?
I would say all around we were just mainly in the area. I guess it's where Penwood used to be. I guess off of Scenic. Just a lot of duplexes in that area. Where I really grew up was Valentine Lane in a house. So from there,
you didn't stay at the trailer park?
No.
Okay.
No.
You stayed at the house.
I had some. Yeah. I had some friends that stayed over there though. You know, so it was pretty cool. Shout out, Flamingo. Hey.
Did you live around with a lot of Hispanics?
So one of my good friends, Zach Gomez, was like my first like Hispanic friend who his family introduced me to a lot of the Hispanic culture. It was pretty cool.
Like, what'd you learn from them?
That Hispanics are cool. Hispanics are cool. I mean, like, as far as the cuisines, you know what I'm saying? Like salsa and all that. Like,
the homemade hot sauce.
Man, the tortillas, all that stuff. Like, it just kind of opened me up to that. And yeah, I would say his family like welcomed me into that, and just around that neighborhood, it wasn't really like a lot of Hispanics or a lot of whites. It was real diverse.
Okay.
You know, just a lot of people just chilling.
What was life for you like growing up?
I would say traditional, I guess.
Did you live in a 2-parent household or just a single mom?
For the most part, 2-parent. Okay. Yeah, probably all the way up until I was like 16 maybe. And then it was just my mom and me and my 2 other sisters.
So. Okay. Did that affect you in any way?
Kind of, sorta. I tried to. I mean, as far as not having my dad around, I would sometimes find myself trying to like blame like certain situations on that. But I mean, now that I look at it, I was just a fucking idiot.
Why do you say that?
Because it wasn't like nothing really holds you back. Like, I mean, you're just gonna go through things in life regardless, and you just gotta figure it out. You know what I mean? Um, I just, it's easy to feel. I guess it's easy to blame something else other than yourself. So,
Are you meaning like you were blaming yourself for
well,
dad leaving?
no. Where I was at, pretty much, like, holding myself accountable for, I guess, the positions I put myself in life, instead of just like, oh, because I don't have a father
Oh, okay.
to show me or guide me,
I got you.
that type of deal. And it's really.
Did you use that as a crutch growing up?
Oh yeah, sometimes I would. I'd
So
sit
you
and
pull a
be
victim
like,
card.
okay, and look, and I'm just like, ah, you such a.
What situation did you say you pulled the victim card on the most?
I would say probably like, wouldn't necessarily say some of the things like a dad would like show his son. Um, I'd pull a victim card on, I guess, not knowing how to handle some situations like mentally, like emotionally. I guess like a relationship advice, like not having my dad like. Or
I think a lot of men probably struggle with that though.
You know what I'm saying?
Because a lot of men, they have their, like, you're not allowed to feel, you're not allowed to be vulnerable or weak. So in a relationship, I feel like you have to be transparent, and you also have to be willing to, I guess, be vulnerable in certain aspects. And men aren't allowed that space. I guess I would think. I don't know. What do you think? Is that what you were talking about as far as like relationship wise?
Yeah. I mean, just having, I guess, like a male, like, role. It's different going to like your uncle versus your dad. I guess I didn't really get to have that. I didn't get to like go and cry on his shoulder if like I was.
Do you have any kids?
No.
No.
I have nieces and nephews. 7, I believe. All of them are so beautiful and funny.
Would you like to have kids?
Of course, yeah.
How many kids do you want?
No, I mean, just one is like a blessing, you know what I'm saying? If there's like 2 or 3, it's wonderful, but I wouldn't mind having a bunch of kids, a big family. You just got to work hard. I mean,
would you like to have a big family?
Of course.
Do you come from a big family?
We're thinning out. I feel like, as far as how congregated we were, like staying together, like, I think, I mean, my family's still pretty spread out as far as, yeah, I think we're thinning out.
Okay, so you just got back in town from a show, from doing a show. So
we actually went to a paranormal event.
How was that?
Spooky.
Like, was it really, really scary, or was it like?
The house apparently was. What is? It was on a battlegrounds, like from, what was it, the 1800s. But they had like a nice event. It was like vendors set up, and they had like a comedian or some a couple like podcasters there. I guess the investigators and things like that. It was a cool little convention. It was different though, like knowing that like some crazy like haunted stuff has happened there. And
what type of crazy haunted stuff happened?
Like, what was it? She was watching YouTube episodes of like the ghost hunters being there, and some of the people have like heard like "I hate you" voices, or like "I kill you." Like,
did you hear anything?
No.
Were you trying to hear anything?
Hell no. Hell no.
So you performed? Did you perform only one time, or how many times did you perform out there?
Oh, not. I didn't perform here. I apologize. I kind of cut you off on that. No, I went on it's like a 3-day tour with Wu-Tang. Well, Jizza and Inspector Deck of Wu-Tang. It was pretty cool.
How was that?
It made me realize what I need to be prepared for. Like, having like your own DJ, a manager, even
it's more complex than just showing up.
Yeah, and just being like, hey, here's my USB. Let me like perform on some speakers. It's real legit. It was cool though, like seeing the whole like the band get set up and sound check and stuff like that. So
what got you into music? Or have you always been into like wanting to do that?
Oh, being like a music artist. I mean, Michael Jackson was an inspiration. It was pretty cool to watch him like just moonwalking Spanish on the stage. And just all the other like celebrities like coming up, like watching like Chris Brown, you know what I'm saying? Because I love to dance. So just watching them, and then not only that, just performing, like making sure people have like a good time.
How old were you whenever you got into like music and you wanted to like, I guess, record yourself and figuring out what type of genre you were going to?
I would say maybe I started off around 16, just goofing around. Like I know some buddies of mine. We called ourselves Faith. It was a little group that we made. My boy Hugo.
Who was all part of the group?
I know it was me, Hugo. I know my boy Buckstone. His brother Jason. My boy Big Z. And man, there's
it was a lot
Lalo,
of
yeah, all Hispanics. I think I was the only black one in there, but we all were like rapping. It was
okay,
cool.
y'all were freestyling, or was it
sometimes we would freestyle, but I mean most of the time it was like they were like, you know, we wrote stuff down and it was actually just making remixes and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Y'all should check that out. Mr. Lucky and Frosty.
Mr. Lucky and Frosty. Is it on YouTube?
PHORSTY, I believe so.
Okay, Frosty with a PH.
It's so funny. I went through so many different like little alias.
Okay, so that used to be your name.
Yes.
Frosty. Where'd you come up with that?
I don't know. I just thought it sounded pretty catchy, but apparently not.
With a PH.
With a PH. Like that.
Like what?
Like fat, like baby fat.
Like baby fat? Okay.
Funny. I know. Yeah.
So the genre that you're doing now, it's more like would you compare what artist would you compare it to that you're like? I listened to some stuff.
Okay. Thank you.
It's more like I get the feel, I guess the last one that I heard it's more so like because you sing, you also rap. And
I tend to do that a lot. Sing, rap.
Right. So I would say more so like, I don't know what the artist is.
I hear Kid Cudi a lot.
That one, and then it's what's his name? I saw him on TikTok and he makes like some good music. It's I don't know what's his name.
Is he pretty popular? Like, does he have a...
and that song is playing in my head right now, but I just can't say it. It's like...
Sing it.
No.
Like, let us hear it.
It'll come to me later. But, so you do like a lot of that, and it's more so like expression.
Yeah, really expressive.
It's just like spilling your guts out on your music.
Pretty much. I mean, I just like to have fun, and just, you know, like, however I'm feeling. I like to be myself. So, I mean, I just be myself. That's what I've always been told from everyone else who's...
Listen to it.
Well, pretty much talk to me about music. It's just, man, we love that you be yourself. So,
do you feel like you've gone to like through different, I would say identities, but like different phases
of like music?
Growing up, like of who you are, like trying to
identify who you are. Of course.
Who were you when you were 20 years old?
Who was I when I was 20 years old?
Yeah. Who was Brandon at 20?
Motherfucking badass. That's what I was. I was the baddest man alive. I'm joking. No, at 20, I was hard-headed, you know, just, I wasn't focused on a lot of things that, like, I guess I'm focused on now, and it's just years of just paying attention to really paying attention to detail, but just more so detail on like the longevity of what you're doing in your life, because no one wants to be like in the same spot they were like a year ago. I kind of saw that.
So you don't want to be complacent.
Exactly.
Do you feel like you were complacent in your 20s?
Hell yeah.
Why you say that?
I just wasn't doing anything like for myself. I didn't love myself enough to.
What were you doing in your 20s? Who was Brandon in his 20s? Like if you just like tell me about a day in your 20s.
Day in my 20s. Playing a lot of video games and just not necessarily working towards building something for myself for the future.
Okay. When did you start that?
I would say
when did you actually start taking it serious?
Around 27, 28 is when it kind of like, hey man, you need to stop,
2018?
No. As far like my age.
Your age. Mm-hmm. So what year was that?
I would say about close to like 4 years ago, honestly. 4 years ago. It's like around the time when COVID kind of hit.
Okay.
It was like just seeing that shutdown, it really just opened up a lot of
more
like,
time.
And how being dependent on, I guess, it just made me realize I can't be dependent on not necessarily like government assistance, or like I can't be dependent on like a job. A job just looks at you like, you're here and then you're gone.
You're irreplaceable.
Yeah, exactly. Expendable, I guess. And then from there, I was like, man, it's either like you start figuring something out, like not necessarily saying I'm running out of time, just,
So do you do music full time, or do you do this as like on your spare time and then?
Spare time, pretty much.
So what do you do full time now?
Full time, I work out in the oil field.
Okay.
So usually whenever I'm like out there doing work, I try to incorporate just doing like skits for like some of my music, like content, just writing music, just coming up with new ideas, things of that nature.
Okay.
And most of the time when I'm here, I'm trying to go to the studio or record music videos.
You put it into play, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's like limited time, but I'm just thankful I get to just.
Are you spiritual or religious?
I wouldn't say I'm religious. Spiritual, I mean, yeah, I would say I'm spiritual. I mean, but not like some people say that and say it like it's a trend.
Yeah,
like it's a fad. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah, and it's like it's just kind of cringy sometimes when people are like, "Oh yeah, I'm spiritual," or they start talking about like rocks and jewels and shit, and it's like you don't even really know what you're like talking about.
Behind it.
Yeah, it's like now what they're doing is like making like spiritual woke like something they can just monetize and make money off of. The same way, in my opinion, is my opinion with religion. If you think about it, I just feel like religion is one of those profitable things that they came up with to just keep everybody in like this ongoing like cycle of like hypnosis in a way. It's like scaring them and then keeping them faith all at the same time, which I hope no one gets offended by any of these opinions that I'm opinionating right now, opinionatively. So
you would more so identify with just spirituality.
I'm here.
You're just here,
you know what I'm saying?
Experiencing the moment.
Because I mean, I ask people like, all right, think about it. If like you got Jesus and all this stuff, it's like who were my people like speaking to or following or having faith in before all of that?
And the reason I ask, you have God tattooed on your eyebrow. So who do you believe is God, or what do you believe in as far as God?
Everything and anything. I wouldn't say I believe I am God. However, being like a child of God, I would see in a way like do some things. I mean, if you were to put like a roach in here and you have the ability to, either let it live and save its life or you can kill it, you're playing God in a way. Not necessarily saying I pick on small things of that nature.
Do
you? No, my mom one time made me feel like shit because I killed a slug for no reason.
How did you kill it?
I just got a stick and stabbed it slowly.
Oh, you didn't put no salt over it?
No.
I loved putting salt over slugs.
Damn. All the pills. No, but it was, she made me feel terrible. Oh, yeah. See, that's destructive.
How?
It's a little too destructive. Like, I think you just piercing him just made him.
You don't think that hurt?
Just a little bit. My mom's words, they hurt. Like,
everything has feelings.
Okay. But I got God tattooed because
you don't think that you're God?
In my life I am. You know what I mean? And what I think God is just life. I mean, just the pure essence of something being alive and conscious. I think that's like God in a way.
You believe that plants have conscious?
Oh yeah, of course. I want to say there's a study of some scientists putting words onto like jars with plants on the inside of them, and like putting a positive word and then like a negative word, and just seeing the outcome of the growth and the negative effects of like on that plant.
They did that with water as well, where like they would speak affirmations to one glass and then like just talk really bad to another glass.
Yeah.
And then they took a study over like, I guess, the crystallization of it and just looked at their
the way they form.
Yes. And they could see the resemblance in it.
Yeah, definitely. I think words hold like a certain frequency to them,
So do your words in your music hold a certain frequency to
them? I'm sure they do. I just really, whenever I write my lyrics, I never want to put something like up too absurd, like as far as like too far fetched. I might like jokingly put like a bar here and there, like something like punny. But most of the time I try to be as authentic as I can with what I'm rapping and actually living it. So
what do you hope your listeners get from listening to your music?
I mean, excitement, motivation. I hope that they get the courage to just whatever it is that they feel like is holding them back, like to reach out for it. Let's just go and do it. I mean, you only got one life. I mean, that's what they say. But
what do you believe? You feel like you only have one life?
I feel like I've been here too damn long.
Experiencing Earth?
Yeah.
Why do you feel like that?
I was telling her the other day, feel like I've kind of come to my senses as far as like what I should actually kind of like work towards, like what to leave behind, things like that, what to look out for, what to pay attention to, especially with what's happening in the world, like how fast we're kind of progressing, like how important it is to like, okay, you're here, like what happens whenever you're not here no more? What about the people you love? What have you built for them? What have you left for them? What have you taught them?
What would you like to leave behind? What would you like to leave behind?
Preparedness and awareness. I hope that I've spoke to just anybody I've ever met, or even my nieces and nephews, just being prepared and aware of like your emotions, of how you feel, just paying attention to detail, I guess.
How would one prepare for that? Like if you were to try to, I guess, influence me or to prepare me for whenever you're gone, how would you do that?
I would always ask you, like, how you feel, like, what thoughts have you been having, like, what have you, what's been like something that's like been bothering you, or how are you feeling? How does that make you feel? Things
So
of that
talking
nature.
through your emotions
Pretty much
will prepare you for the future in what way?
I would say, in my opinion, to, I guess, like, to cope with them. I would say to more so not having like a reaction to them, more of like being proactive towards them. Like,
With self-awareness, in a sense, where you're more self-aware and you're not. I just feel like sometimes when you meet people or you talk to people, the people that you keep around, it's a reflection of you, in a sense, and you can always learn like what you still have to work on. I feel like,
right,
like the people that you interact with, if they're triggering you, if they're triggering a certain part of you, like that you thought you had healed,
right,
then you're like, hold on, never mind. I wasn't as healed as I thought I was. You get what I'm saying? So then it's like doing that work. And then you say you've been here for a while, or you feel like you've been here for a while.
Yeah, I definitely feel.
Do you know what your life path number is?
7.
A life path 7. Do you know what that entails?
Yeah. I wanted to say that it mentioned I'm here to, like, a mentor, almost like a mentor towards like wisdom, or like a guidance. And I try to be that way. I don't want to just sit here and be like, oh yeah, I'm the most like
because
wisest.
it's hard to do that. Like, wouldn't you agree? Like every day, even though like we know that this, if you believe in like this is just an experience that you're passing through, right? You're still having to deal with everyday life that's in front of you. So it's like you still have bills at the end of the day, and if you don't pay your bills, then what happens? And then if you have kids, you still have to deal with them. Like you still have to take care of those responsibilities. So even though this is just an experience that you may be passing through, it's kind of hard to try to live it in a sense where, because you're going to be challenged. So it's working through that challenge, and then it's like learning the lesson.
Right.
And then what lesson did you learn? And then moving on. I feel like you always elevate when you learn the lesson. Do you feel like you've learned certain lessons and like
I'm kind of elevated? Yeah.
So when you talk about the reckless Brandon in 20, and when he was 20, do you feel like those lessons or the things that you went through in your 20s have got you to where now you're like more so, I guess, self-aware of certain things?
Definitely. It's more aware of myself, and like I said, instead of being like reactive towards things, just being more so like, I guess, proactive in the way of how I would respond to it. So yeah, a lot of the lessons were in my 20s.
Do you think you're more self-aware in like relationship or like work, or in a relationship with parents? Because every relationship is different. So your work relationship with a partner, relationship with your family, a relationship with yourself, they're all different. So which one do you feel like you would need the most work on? Like that you're still like, it's kind of triggering, it's harder working for you. Yeah.
I would say the relationship with my parents, probably. It's not that we don't like have things in like common, as far as like, I would just say, we don't necessarily don't see eye to eye. It's just, I think there's like a gap between like the relationship that I had with my mom and the relationship I have with my dad. So,
why is that?
Think of just them trying to figure out like their lives. Like, it's not that we grew up in a bad home, It's just a lot of it was a lot of things you notice like between them two, them just trying to figure it out.
Are they together now?
No.
So when you say you're trying to work on a relationship with your parents, are you meaning like for you to understand where they're coming from or understand them as individuals?
More so understand them as individuals. Just, just being there for them. Like, kind of speaking to my dad more for sure because he missed out on like 6 years and now like he's kind of seeing who his son is. And I know it's hard for him to try to get those years back, and I can see he tries, but it's like some of the things that he's like into or he wants to have a conversation about. I'm like,
that's not me no more.
Or that's something you would talk to my like nephew about, like speak to me like I'm your son. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't.
Does he have other sons?
No.
So you're the only son? Mm-hmm. Have you ever thought about that? Maybe this is his first time experiencing this, and it's definitely like he doesn't know how to deal with it.
So and that's why I can't. It's sometimes when I felt myself kind of sound like I'm giving them the blame for some things. Like I put myself in their perspective of, how they were at my age now.
Because I feel like sometimes, like when I was younger, and this is before I had kids, I never understood my mom. Like, why did she make certain decisions? Why didn't she leave certain situations? Why was she so hard? Why she never showed emotion and things like that? But now that I have kids and I have teenagers, I'm like, I understand now why she would rather go to work versus staying at home and dealing with 5 girls and all of their emotions and all of the things that we go through as teenagers.
Yeah.
So, because it is hard. So now I feel like that I have kids and they're in their teen years. I understand more so as to where she was coming from. And that was her first time experiencing life too, and experiencing being a mom to teenage girls. So I can't really blame her for the decisions if she didn't know any better. And I don't know much of her childhood. Because she was never transparent about that. It's like a time in her life that she really didn't want to discuss.
Yeah.
And then she also had to grow up fast. So I don't know who she was. I only know her as mom. I don't know her as
I know.
You know what I mean? So it's like I feel like if I would have known her as who she was as an individual, I probably would have understood more of why she made certain choices.
Right.
Because I know that when we were growing up, she was really unstable. So she was always bouncing from place to place. So whenever she did land a place here in Longview, she held on to that because she didn't want to be unstable. So rather that be staying in a domestic violence relationship, just so she could hold on to a little piece of stability. I feel like she did that just because she didn't want to be unstable anymore. So I get it because I've been through that before. You know what I mean? So I think that in situations you probably go through experiences where it may not be identical to your parent, but you probably will. And especially once you have kids, that you're like, shit, now I understand why they did certain things.
Yeah.
And right now it probably doesn't make any sense to you because...
Damn, Jacqueline, you're really good at this therapy.
No, it's totally different whenever you do have the kids. And it brings you, I don't know, in a sense, it brings you closer. Because I know with my sisters too, whenever I didn't have kids, I didn't care what they were doing. I didn't care to hang out with them or anything like that. But once I had my kids, I looked for that communion. I looked for that, I guess, village to help me. And I'm lucky and I'm fortunate that I do have that relationship with my sisters. But it wasn't until I had my kids that I was able to understand why they did certain things. So it's not like until like you go through a certain situation that you kind of like are on the outside from the other person that you're like, I want them to be able to receive me in that same way, that you understand. Like I recently lost my mom like 2 years ago. I never understood grief. I never understood what it was like to lose somebody that close to you and how you feel like the first 2 weeks after, they pass, and then it's like the funeral and things like that. Everybody's like sending their condolences and what do you need, girl? And I'm here for you. And then after those 2 weeks, it's like
nobody.
Yeah. Hey guys, it's a year later. Like I am still grieving. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like situations like that I'm like, damn, I had friends that lost somebody close to them. And I never reached out after sending that one condolence. And it's like not until you go through certain situations that you really understand what it's like to be going through that.
Mm-hmm.
So be a little bit more gentle with your parents.
Thank you. And condolences on.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like try to get them to try to understand who they are as individuals and not as mom and dad.
Yeah, and with my mom, I see she's at the point in her life where she's kind of like just doing her own thing, you know, a little bit more to herself, and we've always had like a pretty good relationship as far as, you know, just mother and son. However, I do like, you know, want to
get to know her wild side and who she is as a woman. You probably don't want to know that, but I'm just saying, like, just get to know her. Get to know your dad's side too, and like I promise you, you'll probably get more insight as to why you are the way you are, because you carry those genes in you, whether you recognize it or not.
Yeah, if you were to see my mom, you'd be like, okay, you guys look. That's what a lot of people say. We look like each other, and then
you may get your temperament from your dad. Then
yeah, I do.
Yeah. You may look like your mom, but you get your temperament from your dad.
Man.
So learning him will probably help you learn yourself too.
Yeah. I try to.
Have you ever dedicated a song to them? Like made a song about your mom or dad?
Yeah, one of my mom, not yet my dad. I don't know what. I mean, I probably will. I'll probably like be like a letter, a letter to him. I'm sorry. What are you doing?
He's talking to me.
Oh, my bad.
A letter to your dad?
Yeah, something of that nature.
Okay.
Just but yeah, I wrote one. It's called "Hurt Myself."
And that was for your mom?
It's for my mom.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm gonna have to listen to it.
Thank you.
Let's draw a card. You want to draw a card?
Yeah, sure. Do I?
Whichever one you want to draw. We gotta do all three. Pull one from each deck.
Okay. Okay.
And then I'm gonna pull from all three, and we go off of his. Okay.
Just one at a time? Okay. Intimacy. What inspires you? I was sorry. I just had to read it.
Go ahead. What inspires you to what?
What inspires me? What inspires me? You know, family, inspires me. However, humanity inspires me because there's some really good people out here, and I like watching like on like the YouTube reels and stuff like that of not the staged like people doing stage things. However, like some people are actually catching people in that act of like doing like just
good.
Yeah, just genuine stuff. And it's like as a human, you know what I'm saying? It's so hard to I mean, today's age, because it's like everybody's so worried about like, oh, I don't got time, or you know, who's gonna help me type deal. But seeing other people do that, like those are some gems I appreciate. And that's what inspires me. You know, you got like 8-year-old kids out here wanting to change poverty. You know what I'm saying? Like that's inspiring.
Okay.
So I would say humanity as a whole is inspiring. You know, family always, however.
That's good. I would say what inspires me is, I guess it just depends on what I'm being inspired to do. But I would say my inspiration is to just leave a good footprint behind. Like
that inspires you? Or is
that inspires me to want to do good. To just be able to know that I made a difference in somebody's life. So.
Do you feel like you make differences in people's lives that you meet? Like as far as like friends, like all your friends you have?
I don't know. I wouldn't know if I do influence them or inspire them. I would like to hope that I do, but I don't know. We'll go on to your next card.
Vulnerable. you gotta read them with that voice. Okay.
That suspense.
What's one experience that changed your life? One experience that changed my life, I would say my dad going to prison was kind of different because I never thought I'd be one of those like, hey, my dad's in prison, types of kids. No offense, no offense.
What are those types of kids?
I guess thinking that it couldn't happen to you. I guess let me rephrase. More so like I never would have thought it'd happen to me.
Okay.
Like having a parent like go away for such a long time, having to visit like my dad through, the plexiglass and driving so far to go visit him, stuff like that.
How did that impact you?
Well, damn sure let me know not to ever do nothing stupid, which I still do. Well, I used to do stupid things.
So emotionally, how did that impact you?
It sucked because, like you think of like the father son like type of relationships of like just going to the park or just like hanging out or haircuts at the barbershop, think like those moments where it's just like y'all are bonding like 1,000%,
Let me ask you this.
Oh, go ahead.
Because my son doesn't have a father figure. His dad was away for a long time and is still away. How does that impact a man in the long run? As a kid, we don't really think about it because they don't really talk about it or share that experience. But as a man, now that you look back, like how did that affect you?
I just wish I had my dad there. Like in some moments, like, just to even like get on my ass and be like, hey, what are you slacking? What are you doing? You know what I mean? Just not having your dad there,
Does it make a big difference?
Yeah, it does. And like I said, I can't look and just be like sorrowful on it or like sob moment.
Yeah.
It's just, it happened and I can just only hope to be better than that, So I guess that was the ultimate lesson that I like just learned to what and what not to do.
Okay.
That I would say that's the one experience that changed my life. Because who's to say somewhere different in life or had they been together the whole time? So
my experience would be having a child my senior year in high school, because I don't know where I would have been. I don't know if I would still be in Texas if I wouldn't have had a kid so early or being a teen mom. So maybe it was for the best. I don't know.
You had plans to like to move like to a different
state?
I
don't know. I think I would, once my kids are grown, I want to travel. I don't want to live in the United States.
Oh, really?
I would like to live like off grid somewhere.
What place off grid?
I don't know. I don't know what country because everything's changing. So like,
it's weird. Yeah. You gotta be careful where you go.
Exactly. So I don't know. Once my kids are grown and gone, I don't know where I would go. I would have to be able to afford my, you know what I mean? But like, I would just like to be in a small village where everybody knows each other. You live off the land, like it's just peaceful.
With the
like
Russian
I just want
people
peace.
in them Switzerland houses.
No, I would like something like
them Rushka dolls. You know what I'm saying?
Where the climate is just.
So you want everyone to ride horses in the village?
I don't know. Maybe somewhere where it's
no, I know
peaceful.
What you mean though. Yeah, it's just chill.
Yeah, like just very peaceful. I think there's been a lot of chaos in my life, and I just want peace now.
Oh, word. So yeah. I mean, I think everyone would want a little peace after chaos.
But some people like that hustle and bustle of the city, and they want to keep that up. I don't wish to climb any corporate ladder. I don't. Mm-hmm. I just want peace.
Right. Like a farm with a few chickens.
Yeah. Type shit. Yeah.
Like some ducks.
Well, yeah, sure. Go to your next card.
that joke from earlier. Oh my god. Okay. Last card is Mind Bleep. You put that in there. What's the one question you've always wanted an answer to? What's the one question you've always wanted an answer to? What's the one there's a lot of there's a lot of questions, like, I guess. It's at the bottom of the ocean. I don't feel like no one has an answer. There's a bottom to the ocean. Okay, like, think about it.
And there's even a bottom to it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what if it just goes so deep that you come from the sky?
Just recycle.
It's just this loop. Okay. Oh shit, that is a mind fuck. Okay.
Yeah. I would like to know what happens to your conscious or to your soul once you flatline.
What do you think?
Like, where do you go? You go to a different dimension? Do you go to a different planet? Like, what really happens?
It's a good question. I would think that you.
And I'm also watching the OA right now.
The who?
The OA. I don't know who that slug was. That slug was probably somebody that had a very. What if it was Hitler or somebody?
Hey,
and I just
it's the fact that he brought up the slug, and we sitting here talking about energy transfer, and now I'm like, damn, when I die,
who was the slug? I hope I don't come back as a slug.
I don't want to come back.
I'll tell you that
slug.
right now. I don't want to come back as a slug on the south side of Longview. I'll tell you that right now.
Wow. Why specifically the south side of Longview?
That's where I grew up at.
What if a slug is more safe on the south side than the rainforest?
It wasn't, though, because I poured salt. But if it was in the rainforest, I think it did more of a natural process where it fed a bird or it fed something, and it got recycled back
instead of just
being
salt on them,
being shriveled up by or you stabbing it. Okay. It'll probably be safer in the rainforest.
Wow. Okay. No, that's a good question because, I guess that's everyone's ultimate. Like, have you seen some interviews where people have
near-death experiences?
Yeah, like died in surgery or just,
My mom said that she did when she was giving birth to one of us.
She died and came back to life?
And she said she saw like a really, really bright light and she was going towards it. And then she heard a voice or she saw something, but she came back.
Really?
Yeah. But she never really went into detail about any of that or how she came back, like after having that experience, what happened. Because I know she was bleeding out.
Oh, shit.
It was like having I wouldn't say she had a hysterectomy, but it's like when your blood doesn't clot after giving birth, in a sense. So you start bleeding out, and she was at a what is it called? A midwife, because she had she had my sisters in Mexico, so she wasn't at an actual hospital. Oh. So when she started bleeding out like that, then the midwife took her to a hospital in town. My sister had a near-death experience too.
Giving birth?
No, my sister Beatrice, she had a near-death experience. So in Mexico, they have like their patios are on their roof, and they were playing. Her and my older sister were playing on the roof, and her little doll's blanket flew off, and she was trying to go and catch it, and she fell off the roof, And when my mom got her ears were bleeding, and she laid her in her crib. She tried to put alcohol and stuff like that on her, and she said she was just praying to Mary, to the Virgin Mary, to please bring her back, and that she would go and visit her, and she would go and take her these flowers and stuff like that. And I think she left her there because she said that she was bleeding from her ears, so she was like, she's gone. And shortly after, some hours probably passed, she went back and checked on her, and she was crying, but she should have been dead.
That's crazy.
So they did end up going back to go, I guess, fulfill.
I'm not laughing.
I don't know what he said.
Yeah,
I don't know
the
what
camera guy is actually a real comedian.
to fulfill that promise that she had to the Virgin Mary. I think she said, like, once she can walk, she'll bring you some flowers or whatever. But yeah, it's not my sister. Maybe somebody else came in for her. But I will say that she's definitely the one that has beat a lot of odds. So we'll have her on the podcast next, so she could share her experience.
Yeah, I bet that.
I don't even know if she remembers though.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, how old was she?
She's probably like 3. She was little.
Like 3. She fell off. How tall was the?
I would say it's just like a normal house. It wasn't that short. I mean, it had to be. I don't know how tall it was.
She fell from the 2nd story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Kudos to what's your sister's name? Beatrice. Kudos, Beatrice.
For coming back. She chose to come back.
For coming back.
I would have stayed.
Yeah.
Or did she come back? You think somebody else came back for her?
Or is it Beatrice?
What if it was no? Is it Beatrice?
No. Okay.
Well, Brandon, thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
And being a guest. I gotta do it. I was trying to get out of it, guys.
Hey.
All right. We're gonna go with intimacy. No, vulnerable. Well, what? Just one? Okay. What's something you're holding on to and why?
Okay. Hey.
What's something I'm holding on to and why? Like emotionally or like physical? So emotionally, I'm holding on to trust issues. I guess I don't want to be too vulnerable when meeting somebody because I'm scared to get hurt. So holding on to not trusting people.
I would say that's a good answer. Like holding on to trust issues. I would probably answer with like time wasted.
Yeah.
Just had like some time wasted, and it's like I keep.
And then I think about it too, and I'm like, so if you don't take a risk with somebody, like let's say if it is whatever it is, with somebody or to venture off to do something, if you don't take that risk because your trust issues or your fear is holding you back, then how do you ever know if it's something that's going to come out of it or not? So then you do have to live life fearlessly and take risks, no matter if that hurts you or not. So I guess I would need to stop being a coward.
I mean, you can still be guarded, you know.
Yeah, but then you don't get to fully experience things.
Well, I wouldn't, if I had to give advice, just not to, you know, you don't have to be like too guarded. However, I guess prepare yourself. I mean, if you were to go into meeting someone new, I guess don't have an expectation.
Don't have expectations.
Because
I think that's where you get fucked. It's like you have the expectation that the other person is going to receive you or do the same things that you do. And what if they don't have it in them? You know, they can't meet you.
Or like if you were to go and expect them to be like a certain like way, like maybe from what you've just experienced, and then,
or you see the potential and you like, I see the potential in you. Let me go ahead and like try to see you through this potential. And then they don't live up to it because they don't even know the potential that they have.
That, or, you know, you just don't like care, I guess. I don't know. Some people don't. I don't know. You tell them about potential, I guess. And
what would be something that you're holding on to?
I would say wasted time. Like just looking back on like a lot of just time I wasted, and like knowing I can't, like wanting to get that time back to like try to make myself further ahead than where I know I.
But what if that was supposed to happen for a reason?
See, that's why I can't really sit and just be like, you know, so hard on it.
Because I think about it, like sometimes people do disappoint me. And then I think about like, okay, well, what experience did I have with them? And did I enjoy it? And did I learn anything from that experience? And if so, at least I'm grateful for being able to say that I did experience whatever it was that I got from them. Whether it have been just them showing me a different way of living or a different perspective on certain things. It's just the experience.
Yeah.
So then I guess I find closure in that. And then I move on.
I hope you find closure in whatever
it is.
Know. Yeah, I mean, regardless, stress issues and you know, I hope we all find closure in whatever it is we like.
Time wasted and trust issues. What was the lowest point of your life and how did you overcome it? I think I answered this in the previous. The lowest point in my life, I would feel like, was whenever I was pregnant with my youngest child.
Why is that?
Because I had it was a very toxic relationship. And I've always had my own place. I've always had my own money and everything. So whenever I got with my youngest dad, he cheated and I was in school and he's like, well, I was living in Beaumont at the time. So I wanted to come back home. But it was like in the middle of my spring semester. And I only had fall semester left. So if I would have left in the middle of my spring semester, I would have had to do another year. And I stayed. He promised to pay bills and take care of me while I went to school. And then when he would get mad, he would
hold that again.
pull back and be like, well, I'm not paying your bills this month. So going back and forth between Beaumont and Longview while pregnant, while having my other two kids. And I got so low to the point where I contemplated suicide while pregnant. And I think that was like my lowest point. And then I finally had to say, like, I think my daughter said something like, Mom, why do we keep on going back? Like, if he's hurting you so much, why do we keep on going back? I was like, yeah, this is.
How'd that make you feel like when your daughter said that to you?
Like shit. Because I was like, why am I going back? What am I going back for? And I think in a sense at that time, I didn't want the one I was pregnant with to grow up in a broken home like my oldest two did. So I guess I wanted to keep the perfect family image. And once I started having those suicidal ideations, I was like, yeah, it's time to go. So I came back and moved back to Longview. And I was able to talk to the dean, and because all my classes were on campus and it was my last semester, and they were like, we're not offering these online. So you're going to have to talk to your professors and they're going to have to make the exception to offer that class online. And they did. So I was able to graduate.
That's nice of them. Yeah. Did you tell them?
Yeah, I explained my situation to them.
Hell yeah.
And they let me, like, any presentation or anything like that I needed, they let me do it virtually. So I was able to graduate that fall.
Yeah, shout out to them, the professors, for that. Because
that definitely did. Because I tried to transfer all my stuff to UT Tyler, but UT Tyler was like, no, you have to have at least 24 hours with us because I only needed 9 more hours to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, no, you have to have 24 hours with us. If not, then we can't put our name on your degree.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, no, how am I going to go to school for another year if I only need 9 hours? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, that was my lowest, and that's how I overcame it. Was, I guess, acknowledging that I was slipping and moving back home where my family was.
That's good though. I think that like that was obviously a good decision.
Yeah.
So that's cool that, you know, you had a family you can.
I think since then, I wouldn't, I don't want to experience being unstable again.
Right.
Because I've experienced it. And now, like, I think going through that experience, now I understand my mom as to why she didn't leave the one thing that she had that gave her stability, her house. She didn't leave it because that was hers. We had our own, we had a place to play. We weren't shacking up with somebody and somebody could kick us out and things like that. So it's like, if my daughters want to run around in their underwear, they can do that because this is their house.
Mm-hmm.
So like, while I was going through that period of bouncing back and forth, we were living with my sister, we were living with him, and it was like, if they wanted to kick us out, they could kick us out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's, I don't ever want it.
Your mother sounded like a hard worker.
She was.
Kudos. Definitely.
What's your what was your lowest point of your life, and how did you overcome it?
I think the lowest point, I think it was like in 2021, I got in a wreck.
Mm-hmm.
And it was strictly my fault. I was being petty and bitter in certain ways. And I was being reckless. I was just drinking and driving. But I got in a wreck in Irving, and I didn't walk away with any injuries. I mean, the car I messed up was like kind of total.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hurt anybody or run into any cars. Like, if anything, I just made a scene. I think right then and there, that was like the
wake up call.
Oh yeah, definitely. Once I kind of realized, like, damn, man, you know, you could have killed that family right there with the minivan, or you could have took out the old lady, you know, driving the Volkswagen. Like, you could have took yourself out. Then how would your nephews feel? How would your mom feel? You know, your friends, your sisters, things like that. All because you were just
being reckless. How'd you overcome that?
I went to my mom's house. She lives in the country, and I didn't have like no car, no job. I just had
humbled you.
Man, I sat there and I didn't go nowhere. I didn't come into town. You know where Mountain Enterprise is? Mm-hmm. It's like right outside of Henderson. So I just went out there and I just stayed there. And like a whole month, I just sobered up. I didn't really speak to anybody. I didn't really just go out. I really just talk to myself, like, you know, whatever it is that you're gonna do, like the next job that you get, or whatever goal you're working for, like, you got to make sure you really like doing that shit, not wasting any time, because, you know, you could have been dead. Yeah. So it's almost like, you know, the universe in a way just spared you. You don't get too many more of those, you know. So I think I was.
It was a wake up call, and you set your ass down somewhere.
Definitely, definitely.
Wait, how can you tell?
That was
intimacy.
Did she already read the intimacy one?
No, I did. Mindfuck.
It was a mindfuck. Oh, what was the question on the mindfuck?
What's the one question that you have wanted to always?
Oh, I think I answer to.
And then it was mine. I think was what's something you're holding on to and why.
Oh, okay. Okay.
How can you tell when you have fallen out of love? I guess for me is you stop making excuses for that person as to why they are the way that they are. And you start seeing them for who they truly are. Because when you're in love, you're like, oh, it's his childhood trauma. That's the reason why. Like, and it's he's not like that. He just needs some time. Or for me, it was more so like I would make excuses as to why a person was shitty, why they were shitty to me, and then I guess once I fell out of love, or I wasn't in love with them anymore, I started seeing them for who they were, and like, yeah, they suck. Like, I wasn't attracted to them anymore. That too. A lot of small things would irritate me about them.
Just more and more.
Just more and more. It's like, ugh. Like why are you even like? Yeah, are you even considering this person? Like, yeah. That's how I know whenever I'm out of love. It's like I stopped trying.
Right. I would answer like that when you feel yourself like not being yourself anymore. I guess like you just the excitement. Like you feel like you're having to limit yourself on being you, I guess. I would say that's when at least I would feel like it's when I'm falling out of love is when I feel like I'm just not really like happy or like motivated or inspired, you know. Definitely inspired. Like if I just don't feel inspired from you anymore then.
But well, I guess what's the longest relationship you've ever had?
6 years.
At any time did you ever feel uninspired? Or did you feel like I guess fire was kind of dimming between both of you guys? And
oh yeah.
Was that towards the end or was that like in the middle? Because everybody goes through their honeymoon stage.
Yeah.
So once you're over that honeymoon stage.
I would say towards like kind of towards the end. Towards like the middle and ish in that area. Just two different paths.
Two different feelings. As far as like whenever the light is dimming versus when it's completely out. Okay. Well, I think I've done all three.
All three cards this time.
Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
After being on the road.
Yeah, no problem.
So I appreciate you. Thank you, April. Since we didn't introduce her a while ago.
Camera crew right there. 1D, 2D. Oh. She's been holding it down, working that camera for me.
Oh, she's been your personal.
We were in San Antonio and she's whipping it out and just looking at everybody. And
that's good that you have that moral support.
Oh yeah, she's the best moral support.
So she's still in love. Very much so. Because I'm sure once... I'm just kidding. I mean not. All right. Thank you guys.
Wait, is that a part of the script? Like, is that like you cutting that right there?
We're cutting that.
He said no, we're still rolling. Holy shit.
No.
So.
But I enjoyed you guys. Thank you for stopping.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the time. I hope I made sense on half the things I was trying to get across.
A little bit. No, I'm just kidding.
And cut. See you guys later. That's all the Feelz.